In today's video, I want to do a quick guide to Shoreline. It's going to be a nice and quick overview, so if you want to know all about Shoreline, stay tuned. Shoreline is the second largest map in Escape from Tarkov. The main point of interest is the health resort. It's in the northern center point of the map. There's lots of high level loot in the resort, and that's where the main PvP action on Shoreline takes place. The map is kind of split in two. There's an east side and the west side, and then the resort in the middle. There's 4 crossing points to the map. One at the north bunker, one at the north lookout, one at the south lookout, one at the power station, and one at the gas station. I guess that makes 5. There's generally 2 extracts, road to customs on the east side and tunnel on the west side. If you spawn on the east side of the map, you've got to cross to the west side and extract at tunnel. If you spawn on the west side of the map, you've got to cross to the east side and extract at road to customs. Let's talk about the specific locations on the map. We'll start in the north bunker. This is one of the crossing points on the map. There's also Scav spawn around north bunker, sniper Scav that spawns on that rock. Then we have house on the hill. There's 2 weapon boxes inside, but not many people visit it. After that, we have radio tower. There's no real loot there, but it is a good reference point to know where you are on the map. Then we have minefield. There are mines around here. Just be careful. Next up, we have the crane. You can call that the construction site. There is another construction site on the map. They're far enough apart and people will know what you mean. Then we have the arch. There's a spawn nearby and it's a really distinctive landmark. Here we have the weather station. Some people call this the radio observatory, the observatory, radar, or weather station. It's got many names. This is a high point of the map, good sniping position all round, and there is some decent loot in there as well. Next up we have the power station. This is quite distinctive. There are a lot of power lines, pylons in the area. There's a sniper Scav that spawns on top of the roof. Now we have the gas station. There are some weapon boxes in there. If you do go into the gas station, you do risk getting damaged by the fire. It is a crossing point along the centre line. Here's the pier and the officers at the pier. There are a couple of safes inside. Reasonable loot. You do sometimes see some action in here. And there's only one way in or out of the pier if you cannot get the pier boat extract. Here's the Barge and Scav Island. Some people call it Scav Island, some people call it Loot Island, and then there's the barge that links the island to the mainland. When you're crossing the barge, and if you're shooting Scavs, you make a hell of a lot of noise. So if you're running solo, you've got to be careful because you can get pinned down on that island from the hills opposite and snipers. Then we're going to move up and we're looking at the construction site. Like I mentioned earlier, this is the second construction site, but it's far enough away on the map that people won't get them confused. Next to the construction site is the cottages, otherwise known as the villas. Down below we've got the cabins. Most people just lump this whole area together and call it the village. You can see a lot of PvP action around the village and the cottages. Above that we have the swamp, and then we have the wooden church as well. It's a distinctive landmark. And to the east of the swamp and the village, we have the bus terminal. This is just to the south of the resort. You can see a little bit of PvP action for players that are on their way to the resort or they're just leaving the resort. And now we're back into the resort itself. There's an east wing and a west wing, as well as an admin building. They're the main 3 buildings. Lots of high level loot in the resort. A lot of PvP action occurs here. A lot of players just spawn into this map and run straight for the resort. So if you are heading here, be aware you're going to run into PvP action. There's 3 main spawn areas: the north, the east, and the west. If you spawn in the north, that's closest to the resort, most people will just rush straight for the resort. If you spawn in the east near road to customs, be careful with players trying to rush your spawn for early kills. The spawns across the other side of the road on the far east are the worst for this. If you spawn next to the arch, that's a free run up to the weather station and picking off all the loot that's in there. If you spawn to the southeast, near the crane or construction site area, you can sprint along to the pier and you'll be the first one to get there. If you're heading for the resort, just watch out for players sticking around radio tower or the radar station / weather station. There's good sniping positions from there covering all of the open ground up towards the resort, so look out for those snipers. If you spawn on the west of the map, you've got a couple of options. In the northwest area around the swamp, most people will just head straight for the resort. Some will drop down towards the village. If you spawn in the village, lots of people will just loot away in that village. Other people will head up to the villas and the resort. You're going to see a fair bit of action around the village early. If you spawn in the southwest, you can make a rush for Scav Island, generally get across, loot, and then back across before anyone takes up sniping positions. You could also make a run for pier or the gas station as well. Try and get there early and ambush anyone from the east side of the map. Let's talk about extracts. We'll cover Rock Passage first in the north. Green smoke will tell you whether it's open or not. It's generally easier to get that extract if you're already on the east side of the map, because you can head along the back wall and get straight into the extract. The pier boat extract isn't always there. There's no real tell. You have to run down to the boat and check whether it's there or not. If it's not there, you could get stuck in pier. Now we'll cover CCP temporary. The tell for this exit is the searchlights will be on. However, I'm told it's bugged right now. Apparently, if you look at the ground, if it's lit up and the searchlights aren't on, then the exit might still be open. The best way to check is just run down to the exit itself. This area isn't always that populated, so it should be okay for you to go do that. Now let's cover Road to Customs. There's a scav spawn on top of it, so be aware if you are heading there. Finally, tunnel. This one is more likely to be camped than the Road to Customs. There's a decent sniper spot above the tunnel itself, looking at both the road entrances to the tunnel exit. But unfortunately, if you've got the tunnel extract, if Rock Passage isn't open and you don't want to risk pier, then you're stuffed. You've got to go to tunnel. I think the main sniper point that I haven't mentioned so far is Spine Rock. That location's got great sight lines all around the area. If you are moving out in the open near the Spine Rock, then take care of your surroundings. Make sure you've got some cover to dive into. Finally, the one thing I haven't mentioned too heavily, hidden stashes. There's so many hidden stashes on Shoreline, it really does make it a great map if you're a stash hunter like I am. I love stash hunting. I'm going to do a separate guide dedicated to stashes. Hopefully you've enjoyed this content. Please, please, please like and subscribe. I'm a really small channel right now. I absolutely love Tarkov. I picked it up late. My computer wasn't good enough to play it up until now, and I just love the game.